Hello everyone, it's Jeannie Peters, your host for the Bone Builders Bootcamp, and I'm here to be able to give you a couple of tips on how to get the most out of your diet to help you build bone health. But before I get started with that, I just want to say welcome to all of you that chose to be involved in this program. It's our inaugural program, and Dr. Peters, Ryan, and myself are really excited about the information that we're learning and that we hope to pass on to you. Partly because we feel so strongly that so many women that are out there feel that the only way they can really build bone is through drugs like Fosamax or Actonel or Avista. And what we're discovering is that, in fact, those drugs do very little to help build bone health over the long period. So for that, I welcome you for taking the plunge and looking at what you could do to help build your bone health naturally. Real quick, before we get started, I want to just remind you that if you haven't already downloaded your guide, that I'd like you to fill out your assessment form. It probably will only take a few minutes to do so, but that will really help Dr. Peters, Ryan, and myself understand a little bit more about what your issues are, and we really want to be able to address that in our talks, our live talks that we're going to be having through this program. In addition to that, you also have in here a fantastic recipe, Drink Your Greens. This is a really great example of something that will help you to get the key nutrients that we know will build bones. And then there's also a little bit in here on how you could journal, just to track just what's happening for you. And so I'd love to have you treat this as if you were taking a college course. Get it into a 3-ring binder. There's going to be other materials that you'll be receiving through the next month, and so it'll be in a way that you can keep it handy. Next thing I'd like to do is to really just focus on practical examples of things that you could do that will help you get the key nutrient all-stars that I know can help you build bone. So I want to just go through real quickly. Some of these things are just items that I just pulled out of my garden. Any of your greens are going to be phenomenal. I mean, this right here is Swiss chard. This is out of our garden. This is collard greens. These greens, along with things like borage, which we have growing in our garden, are amazing in the sense that not only are they high in vitamin K, they're extremely high in calcium and magnesium, silica, vanadium, things that you need in very trace amounts. But if you started to incorporate even just one of these on a weekly basis, meaning that each time that you go to the market, you're actually picking up maybe a couple of servings of these, you're going to go a long way towards helping to not only build bone health, but just to build general health, because all of these foods have such amazing phytonutrients in it. I want to point out a couple of all-stars. Parsley. Parsley is just amazing. It's probably one of the highest levels of vitamin K that you can find. That along with cilantro. So if you like this, turn it into a pesto or just make it chopped up into a tabbouleh, but make a point to buy at least a bunch a week. 2 other items that my husband and I buy every week when we go to the market. One is Trader Joe's, for those of you that have access to it, has what they call the Southern Greens Blend. It's a combination of mustard, turnip, collards, and spinach. And these greens, again, just super high in all these nutrients. And the way that we use this is that we'll take this and throw it into a crock pot along with the smoked turkey and maybe cook it all day. These greens, when cooked with a little bit of acid, produce an amazing mineral brew, or mineral broth. So I always like to throw it into my soup or stir fry. Another one that you're seeing a lot more in your markets is organic kale salad, and I'm seeing many markets carry this. This is a fabulous thing to go ahead and make into a salad each week, and I'll show you how I do mine. Each week I just take the greens, and to it I'll add a combination of either grapeseed oil or olive oil, and then I throw into it some kind of an acid, usually lemon juice, or this week I used rice vinegar. Another oil that works really well is maybe just a little drizzle of toasted sesame oil. And then I always like to add to it a little bit of sesame seeds. Sesame seeds are really high in calcium and magnesium both, so a little sprinkle of that. And anytime you're using kale, if you've had trouble with it because maybe you just found that it was a little too bitter for you, a quick little tip, think in terms of adding in something like an apple or maybe some dried whole cranberries. A little bit of sweet along with the bitter just really helps to mellow it out, and many of you may find, it just does the trick. What we love about this is that we can make this up, keep it in our refrigerator really for like 4 or 5 days, and I serve it either as a breakfast item along with my eggs, or I'll put it in with adding another all-star product that I love, sockeye salmon. Sockeye salmon I get at Trader Joe's, wild caught. I'll take a half a can and pour this into maybe a cup of the greens, and I've got a really quick lunch. A couple of other all-stars we like, baby spinach. We buy a bag a week because we use it often in our greens. I've got a great frittata recipe that we use this with. Another all-star for some of you that aren't going to chop or get to the farmer's market and aren't going to don't particularly like broccoli. The organic baby broccoli has proven to be many more phytochemicals. This not only has the phytochemicals that we know build bone, but it also is something that we know helps to reduce cancer risk. Last thing I want to say is that if some of you are just like, geez, I just don't get this in, I'm not somebody who likes to buy a lot of vegetables, certainly you can think in terms of drinking your veggies. You've got a green smoothie that I provided for you, which is a great way to go. If you're a fan of Trader Joe's, they make a great essential greens, which is a combination of 6 green vegetables and some sprouts. They use over 2 pounds in a container like this. If you're on the go, this is a great thing to incorporate into your diet, and truly you would be giving the nutrients that we know can really help with that bone building process. Last thing, when it says whenever we're trying to get our vitamin K up, vitamin K is a fat-soluble vitamin. We want to make sure that we're adding some kind of fat to our greens. I'm showing you here a favorite of mine is pastured butter. It's a salted cultured butter from Organic Valley, really rich in CLA and omega-3s. A teaspoon of this on top of any of your steamed greens is fantastic. But then again, so is just using like a good quality. I've got here an organic olive oil. All right. Moving along, a couple of other all-stars when it comes to adding great calcium and magnesium into your diet is lentils. And I'm using over here, I'm showing you the pink lentils. They come dry at the market. What I do is when I come home, I just automatically put them into a container, add water to it. That water I use Kangen water at our house, but just tap water is fine. The Kangen water has got a higher pH, so something that works really well is to maybe use a little bit of sea salt if you're just using either filtered water at your house. Add a little pinch of sea salt because that will increase the alkalinity and allow the legumes to absorb more of the water more dramatically. I did this in 5 hours, and already these lentils are so soft that I can actually just eat them. These are raw, and I can put this on top of my salad. It adds not only a beautiful color, but it's adding great amounts of calcium and magnesium. Moving along, a couple of other all-stars. Always, your dairy products. Animals have traditionally always, particularly cows, sheep, your goats, have been able to concentrate nutrition by the greens that they eat, and the milk that they produce is hence just very high in vitamin D, vitamin A, and all of your proteins that we know. So, using cultured milk like a yogurt, I suggest using the Greek yogurt because it's much more higher in protein. So this is a great example of an item that this container right here not only contains about 1/3 of your calcium needs for the day, but it also has about 25 grams of protein. Excuse me, not 25, 20 grams of protein. I make my own kefir, and so I'm showing that as an example, but a plain kefir would also be a great example of something that's not only high in protein and the calcium and magnesium, but it also has the key probiotics that carry the K2 that allow us to actually produce K2, which has now been shown to actually improve overall bone health. So you want to get your fermented products into your diet. A couple other items for those of you that like nuts and seeds, almond. If you're not a fan of dairy products, it could be almond milk, almond butter, just plain almonds. Pumpkin seeds are amazing. And another one that people don't typically hear of, these are figs. Typically a snack for me might be 3 figs and like a 1/4 cup of nuts as a quick snack. Figs are really high in fiber. Last item I just want to show, just because either you love them or you don't, I'm a big fan of sardines. The little bones that are in sardines along with some of the key nutrients have really give people a phenomenal sense of nutrition. Just one of these containers right here give you about 20 grams of protein and about a quarter of your calcium needs for the day, just because of those little bones that are so soft and wonderful to help nourish your own bone health. Some of you know that I'm a big fan of bone broth. I'm going to show you in a video that's at the site how to make bone broth. That's another great way to go. But if you just incorporated 1 or 2 or 3 of these items that I've just showed you this week into your diet, you're making steps towards improving your overall bone health. Stay tuned for more. I've got some recipes that'll be posted this week at the site, and I look forward to seeing you at the forum and hearing more about your questions in our live call this week.